Hi again. Over the last year or so, it seems like every few weeks I get asked about diet or told about diet regimens. And people get all excited about we need to get people eating healthy. This is so key. And they have this new diet regimen that they are really pumped up about and they want to promote and they want to include as part of therapy. And so, what I want you to understand up front is I fully believe that part of getting healthy, good recovery is eating healthy. But what I'm cautious about is that some people want to put all their recovery eggs in that basket and think it's a magic fix. And so they put too much emphasis on it to the negation of other factors of recovery. And so what I want to talk about in today's video is really what are we learning about what it takes to be physically healthy. So good food, yes, that's part of it, but really what the research is showing is good food is actually not the main part of being physically healthy. And so that to me is just fascinating. And so really kind of where this research was forced to start was the confusing reality that some of these people that were health nuts and just ate very, very carefully, only the healthiest of foods, and were very strict in their diet regimen, they ended up dying young. Whereas people who smoked, drank, ate poorly, didn't exercise much, they lived into their 90s and even 100. And so people are going, oh, okay, so how do you explain that? And so many people try to say it must be genetic. That's what it's all about. It's your genetics that determine the length of your life. And again, there's a bit of truth in that. But what they are finding is people with the same genetics, some were dying early, some were living long. So it couldn't be just explained with genetics. So that then led to okay, are we missing something in our understanding about what constitutes a healthy lifestyle, about what taking care of our physical machine, our body, includes? It's not just genetics, it's not just what we eat. There's got to be something more. And so that led to all kinds of research, which to me has just been so important in our understanding physical health. So let me give you just the basics of this research. Number one, the body is designed to repair itself. When the body is in its parasympathetic nervous system, it is an expert at repairing itself. That we have come to realize. So, what we then have come to realize is that what puts a person into their parasympathetic nervous systems where their body can heal. They need safety. They need connection. They need nurturing care where their needs are met. They need healthy beliefs. If that person is in that setting, the body can relax. The body can feel safe and then it can heal itself. So here's what I want you to see. Focusing on the health of the body as just being putting the right food in it, exercising it, getting the right sleep, but excluding the health of the rest of the body is a problem because it's the rest of the body, how we take care of our emotions, how we meet all of our other needs, that actually allows the body to heal itself. And so it's so important to understand that the health of the body can't be compartmentalized into just taking care of physical needs. It's connected to taking care of all of our other needs. So the body's health is more than just eating healthy stuff and doing healthy stuff, living physically healthy. What we are seeing is that being physically healthy has to do with what I'm doing in every area of my life. So, in terms of kind of how we put it with Tim Fletcher Company, it's I have to be meeting all 12 of my needs. my physical needs, my intellectual needs, my spiritual needs, my relational needs, not just my physical needs. It's the not just the physical needs. I got to meet those, yes. But if I don't meet the other 11 needs, I'm probably not going to be physically healthy, because it's the other 11 needs that actually prepare the body and enable it to take care of itself, to heal itself. So if my 12 needs are not being met, then my brain goes, uh-oh, something's wrong. I feel danger. The stress system is activated. I go to my sympathetic nervous system, and the body can't heal itself. So another way to look at this is our body is a mirror, not just of are we taking care of our physical needs, but our body is a mirror of are we taking care of all of our 12 needs. Because if we're not taking care of all of our 12 needs, it's going to show up in our body. We're going to be more prone to be sick. So just to be careful here to qualify this properly, I don't want you to hear me saying that we should reject Western medicine and just say, just take care of all your needs and you'll be fine. No, there's a place for Western medicine, going to the doctor when we have a specific sickness. What I'm saying is we can't just think about sickness as symptoms that need to be fixed by a doctor. We need to understand there's underlying issues that contribute to physical sickness. And those underlying issues are connected to whether or not we're meeting all 12 needs, whether or not we feel safe, whether or not we can go to our parasympathetic nervous system and we feel connected. So let me give you part of the research that was done, and it was of an actual village. So Rosetto, Pennsylvania. And what they found is that Dr. Wolf, he bought a summer home there, or not far away from that. He became part of the local medical society, and local doctors began talking about how heart disease was not prevalent that much in this little village of Rosetto, but it was in the adjoining town of Bangor. And so it wasn't that far away, Bangor, but people seemed to be a lot sicker there than they were in Rosetto. And so what they began to do is look into this village and Bangor and compare the two. And so Bangor, who was close to Rosetto, the heart disease was kind of similar to the national rate of heart disease. Whereas in Rosetto, it was nearly zero. The death rate in Rosetto was lower by 30 to 35% than the national average from all the causes. So people died late in life at old age, but they weren't dying from diabetes, heart disease, cancer, all of those things that the national average were. And they're going, okay, what's going on here? And so they found out that Rosetto was made up mainly of Italian immigrants who had come over in 1882. It was a remote village in the Poconos in the forest area. And so they thought, okay, maybe that's part of it. So they began looking further, but they saw it wasn't just sickness. There was not any suicide there. There was no alcoholism there or drug addiction, and there was very little crime. And they go, oh, that's significant. So they're way below not the national rate, not just on diseases, but on all the social problems as well. So they thought, okay, how do we explain all of this? So let's start with they live longer, they don't get sick. Maybe it's because they are following the old world dietary practices. They're using lots of olive oil, and that's making them immune to infection. They're eating all the right healthy Mediterranean type foods. That's what's making healthy. So they hired 11 dietitians. And what they found out is that the people of Rosetto basically used lard in their cooking. They routinely ate pizza loaded with salami, sausage, pepperoni, and they ate lots of eggs. And a shocking 41% of their calories came from fat. They also realized that most of them weren't physically fit. Most of them smoked. Most of them were overweight and lived fairly sedentary lifestyles. So they said, okay, it can't be the diet. Well, maybe it's the genetic. But they checked out people with the same genetics who had come from that village, but didn't settle in Rosetto, but settled in other parts of the States. And they found that they had the same genetics, but they were getting sick the same as the national average. And they go, okay, same genetics. Some aren't getting sick, but some are. They're living in different areas. Okay, then maybe it's the geography. Maybe it's because the water's really clean here, or the climate's really good here, or they're just in this remote area where they don't have the stresses of city life. So maybe the weather, the water, maybe it's the geography. But they found out that the people in Bangor had the same water source. The people in Bangor had the same geography, and they were in the same forest area, and they were sicker and dying earlier. So it couldn't be that. So Dr. Wolf, he decided, okay, I got to find another way to explain this, to look at this. So there's got to be something else that influences health more than just genetics and water and healthy food and all of the things we've talked about. So he started to investigate the community. And what he found is that this little village of Rosetto, with these immigrant families, had created a healthy community where people were treated as equals, where the 12 needs were met, where people felt safe to connect. And so people spent time every day with each other connecting. No one was lonely. And so it could be at church, it could be visits on the veranda, games together, dances together, shared meals together. But there was constant different ways of connecting, and people were doing it. They would sit on the front porch and sing and share stories and laugh. That was part of life. Then there was this wonderful balance between work and rest. They worked hard, but boy, they had a lot of fun. They were really serious, but then they would laugh. They would relax. They had a balance in their life. So that started to kind of formulate a hypothesis that the key to health is meeting the 12 needs. And then something happened that confirmed all of this. A couple generations were born to these immigrants. And after a few generations, some of the kids began to move away from the village. They wanted to get out of the village to the city, to more opportunities. And what began to happen is that these kids that moved away and went to the cities and didn't find the connection, didn't find the community, they began to have the same health problems as others in the nation. They didn't continue to have the good health that the people of Rosetto had. So bottom line, take care of your physical needs, yes, in a healthy way. But if you don't meet all 12 needs, you're not going to be physically healthy. So you need healthy connection. You need empathy, encouragement, support, respect, unconditional love. You need a balance between work and play. You need a life where there's beauty and wonder and a sense of security and purpose and meaning. You need to be able to feel and express your emotions without judgment. You need healthy sex if you're in an intimate relationship. You need boundaries with abusive or toxic people. You need to heal any deep shame, anger, resentment, fear. Then your nervous system can allow you to go to your parasympathetic nervous system. So again, just to finish this, let me show you what happens when a person has complex trauma. So they are surrounded by perceived danger. Could be real, could be imagined, but they feel fear, often at a subconscious level, but it's there. So that could happen because they just feel lonely, they're frustrated at work, they've got money problems, they got unresolved anger, conflict, they've got relationship problems, they got anxiety, depression, on and on. All kinds of things can cause them to feel this stress, this danger in their life. Okay, so that triggers the fear, the stress system. They go into their sympathetic nervous system. So then what happens? Cortisol, adrenaline is released. Then that increases your pulse and your blood pressure. The blood vessels in your gastrointestinal area and your hands and feet restrict. Those blood vessels to your brain and your heart dilate. Your pupils dilate to let in more light. Your metabolism speeds up. Glucose comes into your bloodstream to give you more energy. Your respiratory rate increases. Your bronchial tubes dilate. Your muscles become tense, getting you ready to fight or flight. Your stomach acids increase. Your digestive enzymes decrease. Your immune system shuts down because cortisol shuts it down because it doesn't want any inflammation to happen if you're wounded. Your cortex shuts down, and so your body's self-maintenance, self-repair come to a screeching halt. Now your sleep is effective, your digestion's effective, your healing stops. All of that is to actually try to keep you safe when you're in danger. And so complex trauma means doesn't matter how well you eat, you're not going to be physically healthy. There's going to be problems. So what do I want you to hear from this? Take care of yourself physically. Learn to do that, but find a safe community where you can meet all 12 needs, where you can connect, where you can be authentic, where you can be accepted, where you can express yourself emotionally, where you can have a balanced life. There's a bigger picture here I want you to see. What's happened with us in the West growing up with the medical model is we've really kind of outsourced our physical health to doctors. Oh, I'm just going to do what I do, and if I get sick, the doctor will give me a pill, will fix me. And so one of the good things that's happened with this whole diet and understanding the importance of healthy eating is we're taking some of that outsourcing back and saying, no, I need the locus of control here to be internal. I got to take care of my own health. And that's been good. So we begin to realize, yes, I need doctors, but yes, I'm responsible for my physical health. Now what I want you to see is that taking back this locus of control, making it internal, isn't just eating right. It's I got to take care of all 12 needs. Yes, the doctors are still going to be needed. I might have to outsource occasionally, but I have to take care of all 12 needs if I'm going to be physically healthy. Hopefully that helps you. Thank you again.